Hi everyone, this is Sean and welcome back to my channel. Press the like button, subscribe, share, comment. I always look forward to the dialogue in the videos, especially when you guys are dialoguing with other people, when you're commenting to other comments. That's awesome. You know, the other week I was talking about some bans. Government's trying to ban all sorts of things out there, which I'm not going to name right now. I don't want to get demonetized. But hey, if they need to ban anything, they need to ban these Tic Tacs. I broke my freaking tooth. I broke my molar after the 23rd Tic Tac that I ate. I was chewing on something. It didn't feel like a Tic Tac. It felt like something like plasticky. And I kept biting into it and no sugar was coming out. Spit it out. It was my molar, my freaking molar. So let's ban Tic Tacs. Today's video, we're going to be talking about weapons inspections, and this is actually part 2 of the part 1 video that I made. I made a video a couple months ago about how to conduct a weapons inspection on a private security officer. This video was meant for security supervisors, and I think I just presented it wrong. I think there's a better way on how to present that video. And typically, when you're creating a video that's meant for supervisors, you always edge on the possibility that you may portray a level of arrogance. Sometimes portraying a level of confidence portrays a level of arrogance if you don't do it right. So did I do it right? Maybe not, but I could certainly do that video better. And I will leave a link in the description below to that video if you're interested in watching that. It's a full-blown video, how to conduct a weapons inspection on an armed private security officer. So here's some things that I want to add. Guys, your weapon system has to be operable all the time. Being a range master, being a firearm instructor, I see weapons malfunction a lot. The other day, I was instructing a low-light combat course. I'm actually headed there in about 2 hours, and we're on day 4 right now. So the first 3 days, I see all types of malfunctions. And it was really hard to diagnose the types of malfunctions due to the lighting conditions. And I was supervising about 3 to 4 officers on the line. It was really hard to detect at that point in time what was the malfunction. What was the cause of malfunction? Was this a limp wrist issue? Was this a magazine issue? Was it a dirty extractor? I don't know each individual's firearms as much as they should know their firearm. So I don't know what the problem was, but there was quite a bit of malfunctions out there. A lot of malfunctions can be addressed before you fire the gun by cleaning your gun appropriately, taking off all this junk, all this excess carbon off of the extractor claw piece. You take that out, then you'll have an extractor that's able to do their job with very little limitations. Having seen all these malfunctions just pushes me further and further to the edge of knowing or desiring an inspection on every single officer's firearm. Now, what is the liability concerned? Why am I so concerned about inspecting firearms? It has nothing to do with ego. It has all to do with liability. As a private security company owner, you have a legal duty to carry out your contract in a reasonable manner, to not breach your contract. So if you are contract security, you're the owner of the company, if you contracted to provide private security services, armed private security services, then you have to provide armed security services to the full extent of the contract. What could be the breach? If you are not a supervisor, please listen carefully. So this is the problem that a private security company owner will face if you have an inoperable firearm. Let's just say there's an active shooter incident in a hospital, and your armed officer was in a position where he or she had the opportunity to stop the threat, but couldn't, because when they pulled that trigger on their handgun, on their service duty gun, it didn't go bang. It just went click. And maybe a simple inspection of the firearm would have revealed maybe firing pin damage, an inoperable firing pin. Maybe the first round was fired from the officer, and then the second round, we'll just say this, there was no second round. Why? Because that officer had a defective magazine that perhaps could have been detected before the incident. So now you're liable because your officer could have done something with the second round of fire. Or they could have stopped the threat, but the firing pin was damaged. If you ever been in a shooting situation, the district attorney's office or the investigator will, and I will repeat, will take your firearm. And they will book into evidence and they will send it to the crime lab for functionality. They're going to see whether or not every single thing works in that gun. Obviously, if the person is put down, it probably works. But they're going to forensically inspect that firearm. Make sure that it was in a combat condition. And that is the liability that private security company owners face. And also, if you agree to protect the client and then can't because your gun isn't working, how effective were you? It was all a lie. You were not in a condition to protect the client. You have to look at it from a management perspective as well, ladies and gentlemen. I know that I have more line staff members that are non-supervisors on this channel than supervisors, but please understand that when your employer gets sued, just the lawsuit itself might bring that security company to bankruptcy. During a lawsuit, even years after a lawsuit, there might not be any raises for you, no raises for your partners for many years to come, because this security company owner has to end up paying the settlement or paying for all the damages that was awarded to the plaintiff. That's why we inspect firearms. I know that in this subscriber community on this channel, I have a lot of people with some interesting backgrounds. I have a lot of guys that were in special forces. We have some guys that served maybe in Delta Force, SEALs, Green Beret, Rangers, Airborne, you name it. You guys, Recon, Marines, you name it, everybody. I probably missed a bunch of others. Air Force has special units. I think they're called Combat Air Controllers. I think that's what it is. And they are considered special operators. We have a lot of guys that are infantry, and in my opinion, they are special operators. They did something that most of the public don't have the courage to do. And having been in those positions, a lot of people feel confident in their weapon systems. We also get a lot of SWAT officers on this channel as well, and former law enforcement officers. And being former law enforcement, or being in any category that I just discussed, even being a category where you train a lot with your firearm, it's easily understood how you can become offended if somebody inspects your firearm. I get it, guys. I totally do. But if you are a supervisor and you want to be fair, everybody gets inspected equally. I don't care if you're former special forces. I don't care if the guy next to you, this is the first post. Both guys get their firearm inspected. Do I trust the former military guy or gal? Yes, I do. But I need to show equality. So if I inspect one firearm, I'm going to inspect the others. But there's a better way of doing it, guys. And also, if you are an armed private security officer, you don't have to let your employer inspect your firearm. You don't have to. You can go to another employer if you like, or you could say, hey, I don't feel comfortable you inspecting this firearm. And if I was a supervisor, I would say, I would explain why it's important for me to inspect the firearm, but I would ask, is there a better way that I can inspect the firearm? Can you help me out here? We'll come up with a solution so that we can resolve this issue. But as a supervisor, as an owner of the company, I need to inspect the firearm, because if something happens, that gun doesn't go off when it's supposed to, I'm civilly liable. And everything that I worked for is out of the table, and everything that you work for could be out of the table as well. And in addition, all of your partners and yourself, You may not get any raises or other types of fringe benefits over the years because I'm over here paying this lawsuit. So please help me create a better way on how to inspect your firearm. Okay? Maybe at the end of the tour of duty, maybe this officer can replace the firearm with another one, so that this person feels that they are armed all the time, and then they'll have another gun with them. You can try that. I don't think it's necessary, but some people you're going to have to convince if you're a supervisor. So the thing that I would do differently is this. So this is a Glock 19. It's in the holster. I already took the magazine out. Let me draw the firearm here. Make sure it's unloaded. Okay. No magazine feeding source. No ammunition feeding source. No cartridge in the chamber at all. I visually and physically inspect it. Okay, so I do this. Okay, they pull the firearm out, they present it in a safe direction, and they open the slide. And actually, guys, from here, you can inspect. So if they're holding their firearm like this, and it's really hard to show on camera, okay, you can just move your finger around here, okay, or just visually. You don't even have to touch the firearm. Just, hey, okay, let me see. Okay, barrel looks like it's cleaned, and then they'll show you the extractor claw. Well, we'll say extractor. I say claw because a lot of people don't know the nomenclature of these firearms. Really hard to see. It's about right. Let's see here, guys. Give me a second. Right. Right, really hard to show this extractor claw right here, okay? There we go. Okay, this should be clear of any debris. Look at the gun. Fine. Okay, racks back and forth. Freaking perfect. Okay. I might even do a function test. Go ahead and pull the trigger. Obviously, make sure that there's no magazine in here and there's no live cartridge in here. And you're going to point this in the safest direction possible. Okay, so you pulled the trigger, you press the trigger, and it did go click. Okay, just a brief function test. And you also want to inspect the firearm because some people put airsoft pistols in their holsters. I listen to Mike Alvarez a lot. He is one of the most valuable YouTube channels out there and one of the most unsubscribed channels out there. He's very undervalued. And he made a video about one of his armed officers carrying an airsoft pistol or a BB gun in the holster, and he immediately terminated that employee. Okay. They do that. Guys, in the police academy, I had some fellow recruits that forgot their gun and they put airsoft pistols in their holsters, and the drill instructors didn't notice that. Shame on the drill instructors, by the way. But people will do that, ladies and gentlemen. I've done inspections on trainees in a law enforcement capacity on their firearms, and on 2 occasions I found that there was, one occasion that there was no cartridge in the chamber. And another occasion I inspected a shotgun, which needs to be patrol ready, which means that there's nothing in the chamber. And I found an actual shotgun shell in that chamber, and this trainee didn't do what he was supposed to do, which was conduct a pre-patrol inspection. Before you go on patrol, you're supposed to make sure that there's nothing racked in the chamber on the shotgun. So took all the shells out, opened up the action, and we have a shotgun shell that flew out. Not good. Police officers will do this to you. Security officers will do this to you. So guys, let me know what you think about this video. If you're not a supervisor, am I being fair in this video? If you don't believe that your weapon should be inspected, what is the fairest way possible for a security supervisor, a manager of a security company, the owner? What's the fairest way that they can ensure that you have a reliable firearm, other than you mentioning it is reliable? How can they tell? You guys all take care, and I'm looking for a dialogue. And be safe. And let me know in the comment section below if you know of anybody, any other security officers that you work with who have carried a fake gun in the past. Take care, guys.